Knew we were doing this. It knew we were doing this today. Felt the vibe.
It did. It did. So, what's up, everybody? I believe that we are live here as people are logging in and whatnot. I am Jeremy Savage, aka Jeremy Forcier, aka sitting in for Dave Savage, aka interviewer extraordinaire, aka let's have some fun. So, super pumped to be here with none other than the nerd. What's up, Denise? How you doing?
Hey guys, I am stoked. It's Tuesday. We got like what, a month before the election. I get to be here with Jeremy himself. Let's explode this. Let's do something cool today.
Heck yeah, we sure are. So, what I see personally right now to set some context around this interview, because we're going to go in multiple directions here, and I'm going to let the current take us to where we need to go. And I really do believe in that theory in general. Like, just think about trying to swim upstream all the time. Like, it's not, you won't last very long. You'll drown, right? So, oftentimes, we're not paying attention to the current in the market, in the business, things that have changed socially, economically, et cetera. And it makes it a lot harder for us to gain momentum. And then we think we're failing. But it's not that we're failing. We're just usually not paying attention enough to like current in the market, current, which could also be called trends within your database, within your realtor partners, within micro markets. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit about that today with Denise on like how do we stay constantly in the current of the moment, the trend of the moment within our businesses. And that's where a lot of hyper success is found, right? It's not that everyone was super ready for everything. Like I know that Denise is not ready for anything that happens in any market, in any situation, just like I am totally not equipped to handle anything that happens in any moment, in any market, et cetera. But we have to know how to pivot, and we really need to know what exactly to say. Like in situations when we are having some challenges, when we are having struggles, to show people a better way, given any different type of environment. So, Denise, right now, like in your business, I'd love to start with this question, right? Is that what's the number one, we can call it a question, but what's an objection or a trend that you're seeing like with your customers right now, with your referral partners? Like, what are some trends that you're seeing that you're having to basically counteract, like whatever their objection or mindset might be?
So I think, thank you. We've helped, just to give some perspective. I'm at year to date, just my personal production, 290 families. It's not where it was in 2021, but it's decent. And when people ask me this question, or when I'm in a meeting or a consult with a real estate agent, and I just simply ask them, how's business? I think oftentimes naturally we start to look at and compare to those unicorn years of the 2020s and 2021s, and we almost immediately mentally get defeated because it's like, man, this time in 2021 I was probably at 590 families, but I'm comparing that to a unicorn year. And so if I did that every single morning, and that's how I started my morning of, well, damn, I'm not where I was in 2020, my day's already defeated and I've already lost.
Yep.
Instead, I'd like to shift the mind to, what are, if I was meeting with you, if you're a loan officer or you're a real estate agent, and I say, show me your calendar. Before we look at your numbers, and we look at your fundings, and we look at your credit pulls, before you have the right to complain, real estate agent or loan officer, show me your calendar. I want to see how many productivity hours you're spending a day doing activities that are actually moving the needle. And what you'll find, and this is the same with real estate agents, is what you'll find is that at the end of each day, you pick your head up and you're like, shit, what did I do today? And it boils down to not having a plan, not being clear on, if you're swimming upstream, like, what do you need to do to get to the safe zone? Like, what's the number one, I call it the MIT, most important thing. What is the number one thing that you can do in your business every single day to get food on the table for your family? Like, just pause for a second. The people tuning in to this live, I literally want you to use your brains, and we're going to sit in an awkward silence for like 10 seconds. What do you think the one activity that you should be doing every day to get a client under contract or a refinance disclosed in the next 60 days? What's the one activity? In fact, throw it in the chat if you're live. I'm not moving on until we have people say it in the chat. What's the one thing? Calls. Amber said calls, make calls, call agents, calling database. Okay, here's the reality. I don't care what market we're in. I don't care if it's 2021. I don't care if we have an election in a month. What's fascinating is that still the number one activity that we all know, like we all have the knowledge and know, it's making calls to realtors and our database, right? So why is it we're sitting here October 2024, we're in Q4. Why is it if I ask you guys to look at your calendar and for the last, let's just say 14 working days, how many hours a day are you spending making calls? Can anybody say right now that you are consistently, over the last 30 days, you have consistently made 1 hour's worth of calls every single day in your 8-hour days? Let's pretend we work 8 hours. I don't know how many days you work. Are you doing it? Yes or no? Put it in the comments. No. 2 hours a week, if I'm honest. No, 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 no. Okay. So I'm just giving some awareness to, sometimes I feel like when people, especially loan officers, ask me like, Denise, what's your magic bullet? What are you doing to help 290 families? And it's not sexy, y'all. It's the same shit I do every day, the same stuff I did in 2020. I dedicate an hour. If y'all been on my trainings, which I'm having a workshop next Tuesday, the 22nd. So go register for it. If you go to my Instagram or if you go to mtgnerdapp.com, it's a Zoom workshop. I'm going to show you how to set your day up to do what I'm talking about. But we're not doing 60 minutes a day on the one activity that all of us know we need to be doing. And so rather than me come here and give you another shiny ball or another tactic or spend all this time on social media doing videos, and rather than distract yourself, which is a form of avoidance, you're avoiding doing this thing. We got to get to the root of why you're avoiding the thing that we know you should be doing. It is honestly, I'm going to get off my preaching in 2 minutes, I promise. But I think I was telling Dave this. We went to dinner a couple weeks ago, and June 1st, I made a commitment that I was going to get intentional about what I ate and going to the gym. I would get up. I'm the crazy person that gets up early. I get up at 5:25 because my favorite numbers are 5 and 25. So yes, I wake up at 5:25 every morning, and I don't have a problem getting up and going to the gym. But before June of this year, what me going to the gym looked like was a check mark off the list. Like,
Yep.
people are supposed to wake up early and they're supposed to go to the gym. So I'm going to go walk for a little bit, and then I'm going to like throw some weights around. And then every night I would complain to my husband about how I would look. And he's like, I guess your diet starts again on Monday. Like, we all have these things. And I realized, like, why am I so intentional about everything else in life and not like my health? And if I'm going to get up and spend an hour at the gym and literally wake up at the ass crack of dawn to go to the gym, why not like track it, or like, I don't know, maybe get a sequence to what I'm doing and when I'm lifting. And so since June 1st, I've been tracking every day, and I hate tracking. Like, I preach to people to track, and I'm the worst at it, but I've literally kept a journal of everything that I ate and every exercise that I've done since June 1st. And so what are we, 4.5 months in? Like, what's crazy is 4.5 months later now, of every day, Jeremy, every day tracking your food, eating not the cheeseburger and Oreos, but the salad. Do you know that 4.5 months later, now people, when they see me, they're like, oh, you look like you've lost some weight. You look different. 4.5 months, 4.5 months of doing this, and nobody's saying shit and me not even noticing anything. And so all I say is, sometimes we have the knowledge of what we should be doing. We know that eating a donut might not be the best morning choice for breakfast, right? We know that we need to be making more connections. I don't even call them calls, which we'll get into, more connections with our realtors and our past clients. 1 hour of your day is 4% of your day. And somehow you are letting distractions get in the way of the most important thing. And until you get clear onto why that is, no matter what I say or no matter what Jeremy says over the next 50 minutes, you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be Groundhog Day. Now, I wish it was so easy. I wish this business was that easy where, like, I tell my loan officers this all the time. Yep, all you have to do is this one thing. You just do this one thing and then you can help 700 families a year. I wish the mortgage business was that easy, but it's not. And if anyone told you it was, they lied. It's an onion. There's multiple layers to this business now. If you don't like it, there's a lot of other professions you can choose. But the truth is that you have to do more. You can't just call an agent every single day and have a horrible manufacturing process and not close loans on time. And you know what I mean? Like that formula doesn't work. And you could be really good at closing loans. You could be the best mortgage puzzler in the business and structure all these loans and do all these fancy tax return income calcs and be the smartest human on the planet. But if you're not making calls, nobody knows about it. Yep. So I'm not sitting here saying it's the only thing. I'm just saying it's the most important thing. So until you get crystal clear and you set that time aside, your Q1 might look very much like your Q4 did or your Q3 did. And so part of what this call is about is what do you say and how do you say it and how do you put your schedule in motion so that we can stay consistent with doing things we might not like. Because I don't like waking up at 5:30 and freaking going to the gym, and I don't love it, but like the greats do things that they don't always love to do.
Yeah, amen to that. So something I want to pull out that Denise shared that was really important. She didn't say it this exact way, but I wrote down some notes here. And one was that we all already know what we have to do. That's a fact. That's just a fact in life, right? Like if you want to be a good spouse, pay attention to your spouse's needs, right? If you want to, like, it's like really simple. We actually all do know what to do. So what's not the issue? I don't think why is the issue either. I think that the why is become this whole hippy dippy thing, honestly, that has come too big. We know why. We do things because we want to provide great lives for ourselves. We want to create opportunities for other people. We actually do know the why. It's the how that hangs up everyone. It's like if the why is not strong enough, if like then the how is going to stop everybody. Like, how do I do it? Which is why we have calls like this. Like, how do you actually do it? How do you say the script? How do you consistently make calls? So if we already know what to do, we already know why we're doing it for ourselves, by the way, that's number one. And if you're saying something different, you can throw that in the trash. We're doing this. No one chooses torture. Okay. And the mortgage real estate game is torture. So we like it. Okay. We're doing it because we're choosing to do it and we like it at the end of the day. So that's our whys, because we can make money and help impact a lot of families and help create wealth and all of those great things. But we're doing it for us. So then the how comes into how do we do this, right? Like, how do we actually have constructive conversations? How do we gain momentum with our database? And how do we help realtor partners get out of this funk that they're in? Because I don't know about you, Denise, but my realtor leads are super down over the last 60 days. It's crazy. Like, my contacts up, my impact's great, like conversations are amazing, but the actual leads are down in my market. Everyone seems to be super slow again, like over the last couple months. And I'm noticing this trend. I want to know, how are you keeping your real estate agents in the game and how are you helping them?
So something that I've talked about this, it's not anything sexy, but every week I'm passionate about it. I do a weekly value bomb email. And
okay, so value, guys, hold on, catch that real quick. I'm going to pull out the nuggets. Everyone's like writing everything down and trying to remember the weekly value bomb. Is it an email?
Email. And here's my thing. Great. Hear me out. So this is something that I tell my loan officers, like, it is not something that you can Google. It's not something that you can chat GPT. anybody can go get an interest rate market report. You can go anywhere and find that crap. When I say value, my definition of value is connecting the dots with strategy. So here's an example is most of the clients that we are seeing, most of the leads that we're seeing, we're getting about 30 a week still. They're either first-time home buyers, they're people relocating to Texas because of their job, or their grandparents ish, family ish, that's wanting to be closer to their children. That's when I study my data. Those are the top 3 reasons why people are coming into Texas. Most of my business is done in Texas. And so one, you have to analyze the data and analyze who are still buying and selling in this market. Not a whole lot of people are necessarily wanting to sell before the election. So if your content, whether that's for your website or social or value bomb emails, is centered around selling and buying, it's like going to fish in a lake with a saltwater bait. You're not fishing with the right bait. So you're not going to get the leads or the fish if you're not fishing right. So we've got to inspect some of the data where if I'm hyper aware that that's what's attractive in my market, then what I have to do is I have to help real estate agents fish with the right bait themselves to attract those types of fish that are buying and selling, or really buying right now, because our market is more buyers than it is sellers and buyers. I have to help teach them how to fish with the right bait. What messaging do we use? What do you post on social? How do you get clients that were first-time home buyers to re-enter the market? What mass emails are we doing together? What joint Zooms are we hosting together? Is now the time to re-enter the market? I know I just threw a lot of stuff at you guys, but circling back to this weekly value bomb email. Do y'all know that we are so inundated with social media stuff? And it's funny because a lot of people know me of like the social media person. And I post a lot on social, but I have an 83% open rate on my emails to agents and on my clients. We monitor it. They're both in the low 80s. That is like so high. The reason why it's high is because the value is I consume so much stuff online through webinars, conferences, masterminds, social. But where I'm valuable is how I am able to create the Cliff Notes version of all of this information. Think of it as a funnel. It's the organized data and the digestible data that they receive on a weekly basis that they can take and put into action. And sometimes what I see is we just take data from Google or ChatGPT and we dump it in the email and we send it and we think that that's valuable, but they can get that themselves. We've got to organize it in a way that if you gave me like a pistol, I could go to combat with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to use any of that stuff. So the weekly value bomb emails is just a way for me to stay top of mind. Every agent I meet goes into my database. It could be a listing agent. It could be an agent that we made an offer on that they didn't accept our offer. But that's the vacuum that I suck people into. And I start building a brand. They go out every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. because I've measured it. That's the best time to send emails to my real estate agents. By the way, we measure this every quarter. So again, I wish it was easy to say, oh, you can just set it and forget it. You got to monitor it and measure it. But literally the one I got today, the lady said, cute marketing. I was impressed to have 2 buyers working with you at one time on 2 of my listings. I was like, who is this? That was just a response to my my Tuesday value bomb email. So here's my point is, you could have a killer first meeting with a real estate agent. Like you knock it out of the park, like stellar presentation. You could have an awesome mortgage experience with the agent on the listing side. You were the hero. You saved the deal. We all we've been that guy before. And then there's not anything meaningful, intentional. Going back to the gym analogy, like the email is a checklist. It's not intentional. And so you're not going to get the result you want by just throwing weights up in the air versus what activities are you doing? And then how intentional are you with it? And if you're not getting if your open rate sucks, humble yourself and be like, maybe this
Maybe my
activity
content
is not,
sucks.
maybe my content sucks. If you're meeting all these agents and you're not getting leads with them, the dopamine moment might be wearing off and they're like, wait, what was that guy's name? Like, this is how it works. Had a really good meeting with Jeremy. I was like, wow, he sounds great. 2 weeks pass by. I get a lead from a neighbor. I'm an agent. I get a lead. This client says they're ready to go out looking for homes. And their immediate thought is, wait, who was that guy I met with? Oh, crap. This
Yep.
person's asking me for a referral. I feel like an idiot. And what do? They go back to the guy that they've always used because they're in the heat of the moment and they're like, I can't remember that guy's name or how to share the contact. And so they share the old person. It's just what happens. You got to be in their face all the time. A lot of you guys think that the only way to do that is through social, and the algorithms just aren't what they were years ago. And so you've got to stay top of mind with something meaningful, intentional, valuable, so that when that referral comes, they're like, Jeremy's my guy. And there's all these little steps that we got to do ahead of the game to make sure that when that referral comes, that they already have your contact in your phone. Like, there's things, but you got to stay top of mind. And that's where I'm still seeing, again, it's not, I'm the mortgage nerd and I'm on here talking to you guys about sending a weekly value email. That's not like super innovative, but it's consistent. I
No,
do it
well,
every single
I
week.
disagree. I disagree with you. Here's what's innovative about what she's saying, you guys, is that what she's saying is that I wrote this down. She's like, you don't need to do like a market update. You don't need to do like an interest rate quote like once a week. It's valuable to the beholder. How is it going to help the person? Is it like, I'll give you an example. I do this too. I'm just not nearly as structured as the nerd is. So like I do this, I just did it last week, right? And it was an email of like, hey, here are 3 things that I'm seeing like a lot of success within the market that can help you in your business, right? That was my whole headline, the opening. And it got a huge open rate, like by sending it to my Realtor database, right? And it was just real examples, right? Real examples of what's winning in this market. What's the current of the market? She identified her top pillars of type of people that are buying and selling right now: first-time home buyers, people relocating for work, and then people moving to get closer to family. Those were her 3, right? Like my 3 are people downsizing. So people that need to buy before they sell because they're going to sell a house for $1.5 million. They want to buy an $800,000 retirement house. They don't have the funds to do everything all at once. So I have to provide solutions on a buy before sell, right? That's a unique market condition, a unique market trend that makes up 40% of my business right now. 40%, right? Because I know the details. So you put these 3 things in: buy before sell. I have 5 different ways I can help your sellers or people that have been sitting on the fence thinking that they want to sell, but they don't know how they're going to buy, right? They don't want to move twice. That would be a great person for me to help you with. Telling them exactly how you can help them and how you can create more opportunity. First-time home buyers makes up us 48%, right? So listen to that: 40 and 48. Only 2 pillars right now that are moving the needle for me: first-time home buyers and retiree downsizers. Like those are
But
literally
it's like,
88%.
there's 2 things I hope y'all heard from Jeremy just then is one, he knows his pillars and his market. So step 1 after this call is go look at your leads that you're getting and identify what your pillars are. Here's the second thing that I picked up on is, Jeremy, your buy now, sell later. Is that just a bridge loan?
So no, listen, so here's what's hilarious, right? Bridge loan is the last option. There's so many
Okay,
different ways
I
you can
know.
qualify people, right?
I
But
know you do
yes,
home
it's
equity, but your end product, like worst case scenario, it's a bridge loan, right? Okay.
correct.
So here's the thing. This is what, when I obsess over the words you use and when you use them in the sequence, the whole Phil Jones thing. But notice Jeremy doesn't come out and say, I have a bridge loan. Some of you guys do this. We have a bridge loan that we can help you with. What he's using for his bait, and this is where this is so good, is we have a buy now, sell, we call it buy now, sell later.
Yeah.
Now, the truth is that is a last resort option. We probably have similar loan programs. if you say bridge loan, just throwing this one example, not to go down a tangent, but I'm just going to give one example. If you've ever said bridge loan to a client, two things happen. One, guaranteed, they're freaking confused as crap. Second thing is
Yep.
they associate it with whatever they've researched, which is typically either something that costs an arm and a leg and is outrageous and totally crappy solution. Or the second thing is clients sometimes think that the bridge loan is like the loan for the down payment on the new home.
Correct.
Like they're so flippin' confused. So if you say tomato and they're thinking tomato, but you're not really saying tomato, you said banana, but they think tomato, like you're already starting out on the wrong foot. It's like fishing in a lake with a saltwater bait thingy. So here's my thing is he's not using the words bridge loan. He's offering the solution first of buy first, sell later. He's going to get that client in and he's going to profile the client to figure out, do they qualify with both mortgage payments? They might not even need it, but we're not going to tell them that they might not even need it. They could get a home equity line of credit. But do you see the strategy of, you're not going in fishing saying I have a great bridge loan, because guess what? Real estate agents also associate it with the three other solutions they've heard from their brokerage. We all know who they are. They charge an arm and a leg. So their mind, if they get an email from you or a phone call or they see a social media post that says we have a great bridge solution, they've already been trained to dismiss that solution because they've put it in the same category or of what they have self-taught themselves of what the program is. And we're just talking about one program. There's a lot of different programs here that we could talk about, but I see that all the time. And it's because we're conditioned to communicate things in a very literal way in this industry. And that's the art that you've got to learn. And why having a coach is so important is that you got to know what you're saying and evaluate. Again, humble yourself. If you're not getting conversion, you might not be communicating well. And you just need a little tweak, you know?
Yep. So like, for example, bridge, let's just stay on this. Okay. When you say the word bridge, what's the first thing I think of? I think of high in the air. I think of heights. I think of if something goes wrong, it's bad. I think like those are things that have nothing to do with a mortgage or real estate, but that's what I think of. When you think of bridge in terms of real estate, people think cost a lot. Okay. They just do. They think of cost a lot, very expensive. So by simply putting the words around it, right? And I'll tie some Phil Jones on this for you guys on exactly what to say. Okay. So it would be said something like this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower or Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, right? Most people in our industry think that buy before sell is a bridge loan. It's not. A bridge loan is like the last thing that you ever want to look at. There's 4 different ways that people can qualify conventionally, like before you ever even have to entertain an actual bridge loan. It does the same thing. It gets you the house before you sell your current one, but it's going to minimize cost. It's going to be the right fit. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we go through all those other options first and rule them out, because most people can actually qualify a different way. And if I were in your shoes, I would evaluate all these other options, and I could never talk to someone that goes straight to a bridge loan first, because we're here to help you save money and make good choices with financial responsibility in home ownership. Like, you can use most people. Okay, most people is a great way to either get someone on your side, like, oh, I want to be like most people, or you can vilify. Okay, you can use it both ways. You can use it both ways, right? And then if you say, if I were in your shoes, you're telling them what to do as part of your process, right? So you can vilify and follow it up with, this is how you do it correctly, without saying, this is how you do it correctly, if I were in your shoes. So these are really simple ways to use words to make sure that you're communicating what you're actually trying to communicate, rather than creating more fear and confusion and resistance. So in your value bomb, what are some typical things that you put in this? And do you ever put a TCA in your value bombs ever?
All the time. That's probably the $1 million question that I get. And I've got some of you on the chats asking, can you get added to the list and all those things? I do. I have a Nerd Academy that I share that with. But so it's every week. Here's the truth. I I don't schedule this out. It's something I personally do. It comes from my CRM. And the reason why I don't schedule it out is because I want to stay super hyper relevant to what's going on in the market. So
Right.
sometimes it's a graphic that I've created that they can use for their own client value bomb emails. It doesn't have my branding on it. It's not about me, it's about the audience. They can use with a script that they can send out to their clients to get people to re-enter the market. Sometimes it's got a video in it where it's a video of me showing how I helped a client buy a home and sell for less than $3,000 That's a sexy enough trigger to get them to click because I'm disrupting their like, well, how did you do that for less than $3,000? You see what I'm saying? So sometimes there's a
Yep.
video, sometimes there's a graphic, sometimes it's just straight text. My one today that went out was a little bit more on the motivational side of basically challenging agents to do a CMA a day. It's kind of like our TCA a day, but do a CMA a
Yep.
day for the next 84 days because we have 84 days left in the year. And so it's a mixture of things because I am casting a wide net. I am fishing wide. And so I don't want it to be super repetitive of the same type of stuff, but it's very relevant. We're like 30 days away from the election. So I've done all kinds of TCAs of like, should you buy now or should we wait until after the election? Do you have clients right now asking you this question? How do you respond to it? Do you respond to it with visuals and charts and graphs and data, which would make the answer seem a bit more factual and potentially unbiased? That's what clients are looking for, is an unbiased opinion. Or are you just responding with words that benefit your pocket? And they might be factual, but to any consumer, it would feel like you're just telling me to buy now because you want a paycheck before Christmas. So if I can equip you with the charts and the data, and so that's our job, y'all. Going back to what you had asked me way at the beginning and I got off track was what's been really popular and what we're seeing with these first time home buyers is they tell us they want a sales price of, don't laugh, Jeremy, but 400,000. Okay. I know you
Why would I
California
laugh?
people. I know you
I do
California
mobile homes.
people.
We'll get into it in a second. I do mobile homes,
Okay.
just so you guys know. Feel free to refer me
Oh,
all your
okay.
California mobile homes, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm a little like purchase price of 400,000. That's the price that they said that they wanted during the consult. But then we
Yep.
asked them, well, what monthly payment do you want to be around? And let's just say they say 2,500. Well, that there's a payment target price disconnect where they want
Yes.
the Honda payment for the mansion home type thing. So what we learned was realtors are not very strategic. Like if you just tell an agent, hey, your client's pre-qualified up to 600,000, they want a $400,000 home, they're all set, pre-approved, underwriting approved, we can close in 6 minutes, like whatever it is, you're not you're you're not going to convert. You're not going to convert as much because there's a disconnect on what they're willing to spend monthly and
Yep.
what home they're looking for in their search. So what we have to get good at is, yeah, we can have a consult with the client and talk about the 2-1 buy down and all that crap. But where I found that I had a failure or a opportunity because I look in the mirror and I humble myself of like, okay, I do all this stuff with the client and I tell the agent and I put it in the email, but guess what? They weren't reading the email. They're just excited that they have a client because there's not a lot of them,
Yep.
and they're making all, and the client ghosts them because they can't get into the home they want. So the client just says, I'm going to wait. And I'm like, I got to do a
Yep.
better job of teaching the agent. And I was doing these mass Zooms. But what I found is that if I actually picked up the phone and I called them or sent them a text and said, hey, I have your client pre-approved, but I wanted to talk to you about a specific buyer strategy for them. Like, we got NAR stuff. Here's the max seller concession. By the way, they said they wanted a $400,000 price, but we have a smidge of a disconnect in what they want to afford monthly. So my suggestion is that we utilize I don't call it a 2-1 buy down. Going back to the bridge, I hate 2-1 buy down. What do people think of buying down? I don't want to buy anything down. So we have a payment reduction program where for the first 2
Nice.
years, we can get them into the home that they want for a lower rate and a lower payment. And so it's closing that gap. And then in value bomb emails, you're just storytelling. Here's how this client was ready to throw in the towel and wait a year, which meant $2,000 a month in rent, which is $24,000 in rent that they would have paid by waiting, potentially entering a more competitive market in this time next year because rates will be different, election will be over. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but it could be competitive again. Instead, we were able to convert this client to buy now. Here's a video of how we did that. Here's a 2-minute video of how we did that. Don't make me watch a 10-minute video. I ain't watching it.
Yes.
But if you tell me it's 2 minutes, I might watch it. By the way, if you have any clients that are re-entering the market, here's my team text line. You can text me anytime. It goes to all my nerds. We're here 24/7 for you. You see, but you see how it's layering.
Yep.
And you're exposing
100%.
your greatness without being like, look at me, I'm great. I offered a 2-1 buy down. Everyone's offering a 2-1 buy down.
Yes.
It's the delivery of it and being able to strategize with it and visually showing people. If you have clients that were sitting on the fence, now's literally in my heart and soul, I am convinced that if you're a first-time home buyer, this is the market for you. I mean, we all know new construction right now, we're freaking getting killed. Like giving away Ferraris if you buy a damn house right now, new build. It's like, this is the best time to buy. We got to deliver the strategy in a digestible, clear, and concise way that our partners can do something with, and that our clients feel safe and secure and not ripped off. That if they buy something now, that's truly what they're afraid of, is that if I buy something now, am I going to get screwed? We got to debunk that.
So check this out, you guys. She just did something that was masterclass. I don't want you to miss it. Number one is that what she's saying is you never sell just the benefit ever. Like the benefit is a feature, right? The benefit's great. And what I mean by that is temporary buy down, right? Like that there's a benefit in lower monthly payments, right? But you don't ever send the benefit. She's really focusing on the opposite, is that what if you didn't do something? What if it's the fear? I hate, there's no other word for it, like the fear-based close or whatever, but like it's not like trying to scare someone, but it's understanding. And Phil Jones talks about this, I think, in his books. I've read it like 4 times, but like about people will move faster and with more urgency when they have a fear of loss of something, right? They will move faster and with more sense of urgency if there is some sort of fear of loss. And a fear of loss could be just pain. It doesn't mean that they're buying the house, like making it easier. That's the same thing as a fear of loss. Like pain is really what we're talking about. Like how can we help people avoid pain, avoid a mistake? That's pain. Like avoid like questioning themselves over and over again. Is this the right time, et cetera? That's pain. So if we can alleviate pain through the thought process and communication, it's going to make it easier for people to make a good decision for themselves without you telling them you should do this. You have to make it so that all the customers say, I'm going to do that, right? Like I'm going to do that option, which is why options are so important. Now, just to prove my point to Denise here, I'm going to share my screen real quick and show that I did do a mobile home versus a single family home purchase TCA yesterday, literally. So
how much was the mobile home? Tell us how much the mobile home was.
I'm showing you.
If you say 400,000.
No,
oh my gosh, I didn't even know.
Yeah, no. The max they get around here is probably 325, like something like that. So I'm getting a lot. So I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second and come back to it. I want you guys to hear me. This is Jeremy Forcier. A lot of you know me. If you don't know me, yes, I live in a very expensive area and I do a lot of loans, all things considered, in my area. Okay. So like here's the deal though. Trends. I'm going to keep coming back to the current of the market. I'm getting more mobile home requests than I ever have in my entire career in 1 year, this year. the most.
That's weird. We haven't seen you been posting about that on social media of all these mobile home people that you're helping.
Well, they don't close for the most part. I'm talking about leads, right?
Oh, oh,
And why is that though? Affordability is a huge freaking issue. Okay.
totally.
So it's like peeling back the onion of what Denise was talking about. So I'm on a mission to show these people that I'm happy to do a mobile home purchase if that's what's right for you. But most people that are calling me for a mobile home purchase, they want down payment assistance. Sorry, not getting it
Yeah.
on when you have to rent a space in a park, right? Like it's not going to happen. And showing them that, by the way, where I live, a lease space for to own a mobile home minimum is $750 a month to $1,100 a month, right? So what
Yeah.
I'm showing in this example, you guys, this is an example of relevance in a market, in a current trend, right? Like really, really like paying attention to it. It's not something that was part of my business plan, right? Where I was like, I'm going to target mobile home parks, right? But this is just what's happening. So I got to show this person, first time home buyer, that doesn't have any money to put down, etc. That like, hey, if you buy $175,000 mobile home, right, with a 5% down as the minimum down payment that I can personally do, you're looking at a 9% interest rate, which I don't even call out in this. I let them come to it on their own in my video, by the way. I just go to the numbers. This is your payment is $2,245 with a $750 a month lease space, right? And you're going to have to come out of pocket around $20,000 unless you can negotiate closing cost credit from the seller, which I explain in my video to them. And then I show them what a $150,000 purchase looks like because, hey, guess what, you guys? After I ran the numbers, they don't even qualify for the 175. Their DTI is slightly too high. So this is actually
Yeah.
what they're looking at is 150 to get around that 2,000. They have to be under 2,100 a month, okay, to qualify. So showing them you got to come up with 17, but now you're looking at 150K. I said, now let's look at this a different way. Like if you were to purchase a non-mobile home, right, with down payment assistance, which is what I'm showing them here, that your payments are actually going to be less than if you bought a $175,000 mobile home. They're going to be $2,082 a month, and you're not coming out of pocket except for this $13,000. But you can ask for the seller to pay for these closing costs, and you come out with zero. So you're teaching them how to do it. You're also showing them the story that Denise was talking about. Like show them the story with visuals. Here's your story, and you get to choose how you finish the book. Like so, that
Yeah.
is what I'm dealing with. I am doing mobile homes. Thank you very much. They're not that bad. Just so you guys know,
Hey,
as long as people have
welcome to
money.
the small loan club. In the small, no, no, I'm just kidding. But to just speak to what Jeremy said about trends and the currents and the markets and the fear that people have, I like to use the words. My job is to show you the cost and the opportunity. It's almost like I'm going to show you the savings and the opportunity cost of all of your decisions. And that to me, Mr. Customer, is the only way that I can stay in the most unbiased position to help you make a really solid decision. So let's just pivot to refis for a second because I do want to share my screen and show you guys
Amazing.
and speak to this fear that Jeremy's talking about is okay, if you're following the market, let me just jump on here and show you unless somebody's in my share screen. Okay. So some of you guys may, if for any reason y'all can't see my screen, just like tell me because I was doing a Zoom the other day and like
We
10
can see
minutes
it.
in.
Market overview.
Okay. So y'all remember like when the Fed announcement came out, what was that? September 19th, I think. Let's just
Yep.
say it was September 19th. I can't remember. A lot of us here when rates were getting better, like we were on I was on a refi blitz. Our whole office was calling refis, like, look how great rates have improved since July. And so we were on this refi blitz. And I told all my nerds and in our nerd academy of like, now is the time to get your clients ready. You can add 5 loans to your pipeline in 60 days. That's a bold statement. With a team, without a team, just you. I can assure you, if you follow this strategy, I can help you add 5 loans to your pipeline. And we pitched all these refis, and there were a handful of clients that said, you know what, I'm going to wait until after the election. And I said, okay, cool. And so when I'm now pitching refis to clients, talking about being in the current, I have the opportunity now to show them visually with proof, hey, we were looking at rates around this price point for a lot of our clients. They decided to wait, and what happened? Now,
Yes.
nobody can predict this. Nobody can time the market. Clients oftentimes ask me, Denise, well, when is the best time? It's like following a stock in the stock market. Truthfully.
Yep. Yesterday, tomorrow,
Yeah.
next week, 2 months ago.
Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody can tell you. But if I pull up my TCA, can y'all see this, the TCA?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So this is how I present my refis. If some of you guys go in your database right now, I'm going to give you a nerd nugget before this is over. Go into your database, download all of your closed clients. If you don't have a CRM and you're just using whatever LOS you have, Encompass, whatever, download all your loans that have closed in the last 2 years. Sort by highest rate, actually sort by close date, remove all the EPOs, then sort by highest rate. And now we're going to be really intentional with our day. Keyword intentional. It's what we spoke about from the very beginning. Because if your house, and now I'm talking to you, like everybody that's tuning in, if your house was going to be foreclosed on in the next 60 days, and you had to close 5 loans, which might be 4x what you've done in the last, month, 2 months, 3 months, but you had to close 5 loans to avoid your house getting foreclosed on. I imagine how you spend your minutes and your hours and your days might be a wee bit more intentional. So I'm going to set that stage for you guys, because if you guys all operated right now as if your house was going to be foreclosed on, you wouldn't pull up Instagram in the middle of your day and spend 25 minutes surfing, not realizing, holy crap, I didn't do my MIT for the day, right? So you've got refi potentials in your database right now. What I would challenge you on is, how are you presenting the information? And I don't have time to go into it all right now. My webinar, my workshop that's next Tuesday, I am exposing how to do all of this stuff. But this is an example of, I pull up the Mortgage Coach just like this. Y'all see this big Word document in front? I do
Yeah, I was
this on
going to
purpose.
ask you what the Word doc was doing. Okay, so cool. We'll break that down a little bit.
So I don't, prior to the changes of Mortgage Coach, you used to be able to hit your hamburger view and just see it chart by chart vertically. Now you can't. And I hate it, because when a client sees it, it's so damn distracting. So I want to keep them super laser focused on the one piece of material that I'm talking about right now. So I pull up a Word document and I'm showing this to them via Zoom or a recording. And I say, okay, Mr. Customer, you bought your home for $350,000. Loan amount is $318,000. Your current rate is 7.249. Your payment is $2,797. I want to show you 3 different options today, but the last one, that's my favorite one. I'm going to show you that last. So what I'd like to do is now show you 2 options. I have your lowest rate option, and I have our par rate redo option. The lowest rate option is going to drop your interest rate down to 5.49%, and it's going to save you $244 a month. The par rate option is going to give you a 6.125% rate, still a full percentage point lower than where you're at today, saving $126 a month. Now, what I want to share with you before I go into my favorite option is, I know you're probably like, well, Denise, I thought you said that your par rate was a no cost rate redo. So you're probably wondering what I'm talking about. Well, here's the thing. Our average cost for a rate redo, I don't say refinance. Why don't I say refinance?
Because you're redoing it. The refinance they can do with anyone.
Refinance people associate like you're in hardship or they're really expensive.
Yeah.
So I just try not to say refinance. So our average cost is $4,900 in order to rewrite your mortgage, processing, underwriting, title, all that kind of stuff. But you get to skip 2 mortgage payments. Let's just round up. Your 2 mortgage payments that you get to skip equals $6,000. So when I told you that your net cost is zero, what I mean is that we structure your loan so that your first payment closes, close in the first 2 weeks of the month. Y'all know this. I hope y'all know this, but if you close in the first 2 weeks of the month, then we can allow you to skip 2 mortgage payments. So you're going to have $6,000 left. I'm rounding up in your bank account. And so when your first payment's due January 1st, we're going to take that $6,000 and we're going to apply it as a principal reduction. And we've now covered your entire cost for this transaction. And so even saving $126 a month with a net cost of zero is great. But the reason why I wanted to show you this 5.49 is because this comes at a little bit higher cost. It has one discount point, which I would tell them is $3,400. I'm doing this with them on the phone. I'm actually doing it as a screen recording because I don't do it live. And so I'm like, the $4,900 plus $3,500 now equals this. And so the net cost is a little bit higher, but our break even is just a few months. And so I go into that spiel a little bit. Again, I'm rushing this because we have 8 minutes. They're following me on this piece. And I said, but here's my favorite option for you. And this is what Dave Savage and Jeremy and the Dans and all the really smarter people than me teach us. Maybe $126 isn't super meaningful to some people, and maybe even $244. It might not actually be $80 a month might not be meaningful to some of you loan officers on here. And it's actually super meaningful to the client. And we almost like financially shame people in that $80 a month isn't worth it. Do not do that. Nope. Do not do that. So here's my favorite option, Jeremy. This one is what I call the reinvestment, where you're already used to paying the $27.97. What if we dropped your rate and your payment of that 5.49%, but you kept paying $2,797? Do you know that your freedom date is 20 years, 0.83? Do you know we're saving you 9 years of payments? And I do this with them on the phone. What is 9 years? 9 times 12 is 108 times 2797. That's like 300 grand. And I show my calculator on I know that's not like actually how you would do the math, but it's like that now, that $244 a month just became 300 grand. And they're like, whoa, wait, what? For zero out of pocket. Zero out of pocket. So here's the thing. They say, yeah, but, and I did get this. I get the same rebuttals that y'all do. Some of them I win and some of them I don't. I don't win all of them. These people here that I pitched these to, all here and here, some of them said, yeah, but I saw that the Fed said that they were going to do another Fed drop in December. So you know what? I'm greedy. I'm going to wait because I think I think they're going to get better, right? Like if anybody did refi pitches, you heard that. And if you weren't prepared to rebuttal that, my whole thing is Mr. Customer, I hear you. Now I can point to data to say I had a bunch of clients that said that and they're kicking themselves for it. And again, I promise you, I'm going to show you the good, bad, and the ugly. Okay. But now the rates went up and they don't have the same savings. Here's my whole thing. I don't ever want to recommend anything that would be financially irresponsible to you. I feel like my dad got that advice growing up. That's why we lost our house when we were seniors in high school. I will never recommend something that I think would be irresponsible to you and your family. The reason why I think this is a good option for you is because if you can save $244 a month right now with no guarantees of where the rate's going to go, with a net cost close to zero and zero out of pocket, who's to say that in 8 to 12 months, if rates come lower than this 5.49, where it actually makes sense to do this again, help me understand why we couldn't do this again. And I know some of you loan officers are like, well, you put them back in a 30-year term, do a 29-year term. We can do a 29-year term. Like, but I'm just saying,
you can do any term that you want. Yep.
Do any term you want. But I'm saying truthfully, I don't feel this is irresponsible because if rates go down to a 4.5%, we could do this strategy again. And we could do it for a net cost of zero and zero out of pocket. And so it's like the whole bird in the hand, two in the bush thing. It's like, Or you could wait. And this time last year, Mr. Customer, the Feds promised us 4 Fed cuts in 2024. You know how many we've had? One.
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 Y'all, here's what I love about this. Listen up here. So, one thing is that options over everything, right? So there was multiple options, and she wasn't afraid to say, before I show you my personal favorite, right? So it's like, hey, you have this option, you have this option, but before I show you what I would recommend, what I would do, right? Like, let's look at these numbers. So they're already creating the C word. Anyone want to guess what the C word is? It's curiosity, right? When someone's hiding something from me, literally, she's like hiding it with a Word doc and she's telling me about it. I'm not even really paying attention to the other two. I'm like, okay, that's cool. 240. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what's behind the curtain? Like what's behind the curtain? Like you're creating curiosity. Curiosity and imagination are unbelievably underrated. Okay. It's something that thank God, like that I'm naturally better at. I need to really focus on the data part. And like, that's where I spend all my time, because I am just like, curious and imagination, right? But you can do that too. If I can learn how to be data driven, you can learn how to have curiosity, right? It's the same way, but creating curiosity is unbelievably important. And she told a story once again. So like Phil Jones, if he was on here, I can hear him in my head. Like he would say, all right, Denise, that was really good. Now listen, if you wanted to go one step further, what you do is say, so out of like the options that we've presented that will all benefit you, which one seems to appeal to you more? Saving $300,000 or saving $244 a month for no out of pocket? Like, so you can do this, you guys. This is exactly what the stay stuff is. No joke, man. I literally keep a copy of it right next to my desk, like all the time.
Same.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I go to the magic word? Okay, a favor. I'm going to ask for a favor today. Like, so it's like, you listen to what she did and broke down there. It was an absolute gem of a masterclass. If you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat, Denise, like a link to that total cost analysis, that would be killer. So people can actually see what you did there. And remember, you guys all know like why you want to do things. You all know what to do already. We're focusing on the how you do it here. Like, how do you actually do it? This is how you do it. You spend a little bit of time and you practice and you practice and you practice and you practice. So I have a challenge for everyone on here. Like, I think that all of you should do a TCA a day for the next 84 days. A TCA a day for the next 84 days. Now, Joey Coobs, I don't know how I remember your name. I think you messaged me on Instagram yesterday and I saw you on here. But listen, bro, if you don't have a database, good. You can make these for anyone. You can make this for a potential refinance scenario. You can make this for a realtor. You can make this for a pre-qualification. You can make this for someone you meet in Starbucks, and you can literally say to the barista, hey, Denise, listen, I'm in mortgages. Like, do you own a house? You could say that to them. And if they say yes or no, you say, if the answer is yes or the answer is no, it's great because I can help both. Hey, I want to email you over some information. Tell me what you think. I'm working on this new practice on people. Like, don't be afraid to practice on people. You don't need a real scenario. Create the scenarios for yourself and then go. It is Joey Coobs. I got it right. Right on, Joey. So like create the scenario. I remember things. I saw you in my Instagram messaging yesterday. So like do that. Okay. So Denise, final thoughts. What do you want to leave everyone with? If there was one thing you could leave everyone with, what would it be?
My final thoughts are, you need to determine your MIT, your most important thing, and set your day up of 5-5-25, 5 new clients every single day that you're going to call. I'm sorry, 5 past clients, 5 real estate agents. The night before, you need to set your day up. If you want to learn how to do this, how to structure it, I am a structured ninja. You can come to the training next Tuesday. It's free, but you got to get laser focused on what do you need to be doing every day and what tools do you need to sharpen, what TCA tools, like even from how I title the column. I was looking at the way Jeremy titles his columns. There's a strategic way behind how I title each column. And these are these little micro details. So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Anytime I get to spend 60 minutes with Jeremy, it's always one of the best times ever. We have our little morning chats now. But I want to thank you guys. If you need anything from me or Jeremy, you guys know how to get a hold of us.
All right, you guys. So TCA a day, the next 84 days. If you're in, you're in. If you know, you know. Do it. Thank you, Denise. You're a gem, a diamond. I love you. And I'm glad you're not eating Oreos as much. You guys have a great day.